Good morning. This is the Yarn Closet from Tucson, Arizona. This is Laura, Prue, and Grandma. Grandma, move over.
Grandma. Prue, how old are you?
I'm 4. First I was 3, then I turned into 4.
Right.
Right, you turned.
And I'm a big kid. Even if I'm still small, I'm a big kid.
Yes. So I will get to the rest of it. Grandma wants to show you something, and then Prue has some errands to run.
Right.
I need to show you something.
Okay.
Move back. Move back.
Move back so they can see.
Look at this. Move back a little bit. Back. Stand
still.
Stand still. Stand still.
I am.
Okay. Prue, the first thing ever I knit was for you, and look at it's a big girl blanket for you.
Yay!
Isn't it so fun?
Okay, stand up.
Stand up
Stand
so
up.
people can see. Do you love it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, now
What's this?
Goodbye. Go with
don't
Grandpa.
touch.
What's
Go with
this?
Grandpa. It's a thing we use. Go with Grandpa. Goodbye. Give me a kiss. No, don't take a picture. Get
Go.
out of here. Go away. Grandpa.
Don't touch that.
Okay.
Yarn
Where
Closet.
did she get it from, Mom?
Yarn Closet Arizona, Yarn Closet AZ on Instagram. We have a website, TheYarnCloset.com. You will see more and more in the next few months on the webpage. Looming Laura patterns are going to be up for sale. Possibly some one-of-a-kind wood crochet hooks and cups.
Say goodbye.
Um,
Bye, subscribers.
hat tubes.
Get out of here now. Go.
Go with Grandpa so you can
Hurry.
have playtime. Go.
Go.
Have fun.
Yes, baby.
So that is a big, big announcement, is that there's going to be a shop on the online web page.
Start over. I didn't hear that. On the Yarn
TheYarnCloset.com is going to have a shop on the web page so that all the Looming Laura patterns can be sold on there. And hat tubes, maybe some of Jared's one-of-a-kind crochet hooks, the Braille stitch markers. And the reason for this is a number of people have wanted the Braille stitch markers, but they don't want me to just send them to them. So it'll be set up that you can just order on there. And I still have a month of the kids at home, so I don't know how much is going to actually happen in this next month, but hopefully by the end of August, early September, things will be on. There'll be a cranking service. There'll also be pictures and tubes that are already cranked in hat tube sizes, which you can't find. You can find a lot of people who crank on their sock machines. So that's the deal.
Okay, keep going.
And I really just don't think it's hot. She'll be fine. She's going to McDonald's. She doesn't need her pillow.
If Grandpa takes her on a ride at all,
She'll be fine.
get away.
So
Get away.
July is our 1-year podiversary, and so we will be announcing gifts. We announced some gifts a week ago. We have not heard back from those people. If we don't hear back from them in about another week, we will probably have another drawing of names later in the month for those 2 prizes. So since Grandma is busy doing I don't know what, I will give you the results of our okay, we have a knitter's prize that goes to CC Lady, Ladee, and we have a crochet prize which is going to Sandy Dawson. Those were the 2 names that we pulled, and I looked to find Sandy's and CC's comments, and I think Sandy's a crocheter, so that's why she's getting the crochet prize. If that's a problem for you, just let me know when you email me. Email to TheYarnCloset@yahoo.com. So let's now show once again.
What's behind door number 2?
Oh, these are the wrong prizes.
What?
These are the wrong prizes.
This is what you left
No,
last week.
Mom.
What?
The other prizes were I left 2 weeks ago. Where are the other 2 bags?
Turn that off.
I'm not turning it off. Go get them.
Well, I don't have 2 more bags.
Yes, you do. One of them is a yarn closet bag, the big one, and the other one has snaps, and it's like a yellows and stuff, and a book. She does. So I'll just keep talking about my stuff.
You took those with you.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
I did not. I did not. Okay, so we taped up a quilt over here because she's got a thing in her kitchen skylight, and it's now fell down. So we're having a great day. So here are some lovely pictures. Do you remember the sock surgery that I did? The sock surgery I did, I had a long tube, and then I cut it in half. Here is the bottom half finished. It is a lovely shorty, and then the top half I am still working on. I didn't bring that part because I have to bring all this stuff over on my little scooter business.
I'm getting glare from that. I'll sit in front of it.
There, that's the glare.
Oh, it started to fall.
Yeah, here can you,
I did have them.
I know.
I have a good memory, but it's short, and I didn't remember where I put them.
Yeah. Okay. Okie doke, so Cece is getting Ann Bud's Knitting Socks book, a Yarn Closet large tote, a small plastic reusable bag,
Good for carrying your snacks in the car.
the Growly Bear hand balm,
Good.
the Braille word of yarn, it's a word, it says yarn, the Braille stitched marker package, which has 2 of these lovely little clips that I love when I clip things together to sew them. A couple of cute little pink stitch markers or progress keepers. And then a dark purple Braille stitch marker. A bath bomb, B-O-M-B. The thank you card, because we do thank all of our participants and our subscribers. Please do subscribe, because my son really wants to hit 500 this month. And a 100-gram skein of zigzag yarn cranked in a sock tube. It is 75/25 superwash wool nylon. It's got a lot of different patterning on it. You've got close to 5 feet of tube, and if I remember correctly, it's 8 to 8.5 stitches per inch. It's a 64 stitch tube, so that should work for most people. And that is CC Lady, L-A-D-E-E, that subscriber and commenters prize for our Podiversary month. And then, because it is our Podiversary, we have a second prize that is going to Sandy Dawson, which we believe Sandy is more of a crocheter. We have a lot of crocheters, and I come from crochet. What are you doing?
I want you to look at this is what I'm talking about. See this? Don't, yeah. I can just put a piece of paper over it. Don't turn it off. I'll put,
It's fine, Mom.
well, it's
Sit in
bugging
front of me. You're
It bugs.
blocking it. we'll turn it off in a minute. We'll do our thing and turn it off. Okay, Top Down Crochet Sweaters. It's a lovely book with, I think it's 4 basic designs with a couple of alternatives. And
I would
then,
actually wear one of those sweaters, but not down on the sides in, so that it, you know, it makes you guys
Fitted.
your thin. Yeah,
and we have a
fitted.
waist.
I don't have one.
And then
I gave up on that.
5 skeins of Touch of Alpaca, 100-gram skeins. It's acrylic alpaca, 90-10. For people who can't use mohair, some can do alpaca, and it gives you that same kind of halo and fuzz. So you could actually make one of these sweaters. Our Yarn Closet card, because we are very happy and thankful. Your Growly Bear Balm, your Bomb, your stitch marker set, your little yarn, Braille trinket, and a one-of-a-kind crochet hook.
Because your husband does beautiful work.
And a Mrs. Brown's bag that I added some snaps to because things need to have closures. I have children. That's the way the world works. So, email us at TheYarnCloset@yahoo.com. You can go to the website, TheYarnCloset.com. There is a contact us link there if that is easier. And like I said, we hope to hear from you.
Are we done with that part?
We're done with that part. Okay. So now what do you want to do? You want to do the cast off? She
This-
wants to learn how to cast this blanket off.
Okay. You are very good about, you can juggle a lot of things going on at once and, you know, have all these works in progress. I've learned through the years that with stuff I do, a work in progress, though, makes me nuts up here.
So I
I
don't
can
juggle
do-
a lot of things. I have like a sock project because I
No,
can
I'm
carry
talking
that
about
with
your
me.
whole life and everything. Had kids and husbands and animals and,
Mom, you did that for 30 years.
but, yeah, I know, but I was 30 years younger.
Yeah, you're old now. So I have a sock project usually going.
Yeah.
Usually I try to make it one. I've
Yeah.
had a bunch lately because that's like all I've been able to manage. And then I usually have one sweater and one crochet project because I try to keep it down to 3 so I can actually get them done.
Okay, now I'm going to finish my story because you interrupted me. You're getting a time out one of these days. Okay, I'm going to have one thing that I carry in the car. Always just leave it in the car so I have something to work on only in the car, and so I don't have to think it's going to be this garter stitch. Okay, but I like now at this stage of my life to do something and finish it. And so that's why it was important to me. Oh, here goes that cat again. And she wants Prue because Prue left her little purse and her stuff in our bedroom, and she's in there. I can tell where she is. Hey, hey, hey. This cat loves those kids of hers. Okay, so this thing ended up long. It's taller than she is. It's like the length of her. So it'll work.
We held it up to her. It's not taller than her.
But it was draped on the floor. You didn't see that part. Well, it might
I
be
didn't
her.
think it was.
Maybe it's just her height. But it'll fit her, you know, for just a cozy, you know, thing for a long time. This is why it was important. But I got this part. I did all of the, see how I did every time I made a mistake, I did a marker thing so that I can go back later and fix those. And I know, oh, it's in there somehow.
Okay.
Yeah. This is what I want her to teach me today, and I thought because a lot of people are like me. They watch these things, not just, you know, to watch.
I know, but we're not really teachers. So
But can you
hurry
just
it
show
up.
me?
Move over, and I'll show you. That's what I said before. I said, do you want me to show you how to cast off?
Yes, yes.
Okay, then move over and get out of the way so I can show the people.
Oh, then I can't see.
Mom, you can see right
Oh.
there, or if you watch that, you might be able to see.
I can't.
Or I can show you after.
I can't, and I have to get a different pair of glasses on. Because I have worse sight than you do.
So anyway, what this is this is one of the type of magnifiers that we use. So you can set it up for black and white or color or whatever else. And is that going to help? Can people actually see? Maybe I have it. Okay, let's see if this works. Because we couldn't figure out how to do this so that you could actually see what I was doing. Or how my mom could see what I was doing.
We both have very bad sight. You wouldn't know it looking at us, but we do.
Now look at the other screen. Can you see this in the other screen?
No, I have to only see it here. They can see it. What I'm saying is
They can't see this screen. The point of using this was so that they could see what we were doing.
Oh, I get it.
Because I can show you when we're not recording.
Okay, just try it again.
Jesus. Does that help? It's something to do with the glare. Now look at that screen.
No, it's because I have different glasses on each time. To see close, I have to put these on. This is perfect.
We think you might be able to see this. We don't know.
I think you can.
Okay. This is not about you. This is about them.
No, this is
So
about,
move out of the way.
this is about me because I want to
No,
learn.
I can show you afterwards, Mom. Okay, so there are playlists on our YouTube channel where you can go and see real people who are real YouTubers do this. To bind off in a stretchy bind-off, you knit one, you knit two, and then you put your left needle through both of the other ones on the back, and, or no, you put your left needle in both loops. It's in the front, your right needle is in the back, and then you knit those two together. I don't think this has worked because I don't think our main camera is close enough.
Okay.
So move your coffee cup, please.
Well, then just do it up close to this screen, and you can show.
Mom,
it
move
here.
your coffee cup,
I
please.
am. Will you give me a minute? Hey,
You're
hey,
on
hey.
and on. Okay, so this is Jenny's stretchy bind-off. So you knit, and this yarn is very hard to see for a tutorial.
Yeah.
This is not a good choice at all.
No.
So you knit. So now I had one loop on the needle. I knit the second one. I then put my left needle through two loops. It's going through in the front. It's closest to me. And I knit those two together. And that will give you a stretchier bind-off. Because of this type of yarn, you've got to kind of make sure it's a little bit loose as you're going. The other way that people bind off is they just knit. If they don't need a stretchy bind-off, they knit, have two loops on the hook, and bring the back loop over the front loop.
So you still only have one.
Yeah, you always end up having one as you're binding off.
Got
But we need a stretchy bind off because of the nature of this project and the yarn. So once again, I have two knit stitches on my right needle, put the left needle through so it's closest to me, and then I just knit the two together. Now, go to the playlist, go to the knit playlist. Okay, now you knit the second one, and then you put the hook through and knit them together. Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay.
Go to the playlist, go to the knit playlist. And what
Knit
part
one.
of me telling you needed 4 times the length of it did you
This-
not remember?
Oh, length. I thought you meant width.
The length of the area you're binding off.
This
is not 4 times.
It is. I measured it. It looks longer because it's wonky. Okay, so I knit, and then I go in through both.
Through both.
Through both.
So you only have,
Okay, just a minute. Through both, and then when I pull it off,
No, you're not pulling off.
what? Say it again.
You knit,
I
so
did.
you've got your yarn in your left hand.
Yeah.
Now you have to knit those two together.
Oh.
So now you have to take this and knit.
I don't like to do it that way.
Well, that's the way you have to do it.
Ah, brother. This is a lot of work. Okay, knit 2, and then do this over.
What are you doing? Stop.
I don't know.
How do you not know how to knit?
What is the problem is I'm not seeing this.
Okay.
Okay.
The left needle is in front.
Yeah.
The right needle is in back. This is called knit 2 together through the back loops.
Okay.
So now, you don't have to wrap this thing. You just have to pull
It through.
No, you just have to hook the yarn as you're pulling it through. So you now have one loop there.
All right. I'll
so
do
you
that.
knit 2 together through the back loop.
All right.
Watch some of the tutorials,
All right.
and
Okay.
if you need to, do it underneath one of these.
I will have to.
Yeah. So that's my mom's big news. She finished her thing,
Yeah.
and I think it's great to have a garter stitch project. But at some point, you're going to want to do like a triangle shawl, so you're going to have
Right.
some shaping.
Right.
You're going to have things you're going to need to remember. You're going to
Right.
maybe want to do borders.
This was my first project,
Yes.
so that I learned how to do this, learned what to do when I make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, how to do a top and stuff. Okay. Now, do you want to see what else?
No.
Okay.
So
But look at
do
this.
a couple of
cool
these.
thing.
Do a couple of these. Do a couple of these stitches. She hates this. She hates this.
I
She's
hate
always hated this.
I hate that.
So,
No, I don't have
yeah.
glasses on again.
she's always hated it because she doesn't like the way I teach stuff.
No, I do. It's what I hate is that.
But I make her do it, and she wants to wait and do it later in privacy, so in case she makes a mistake. But then she forgets what's going on.
No, you're wrong.
Okay.
She's wrong because you know what it is? See, I have the wrong glasses on. Because I want to do it under this later on so I can, even with this. Okay, so between the,
Right, but Mom, you said you're knitting by feel. You should be able to do this by feel also. I think you can. I think it's just the idea of knitting 2 together through the back loop is throwing you.
all right, knit 2 together. Back. Okay. No, I forgot
Mom.
to knit this one first.
Okay, yeah,
I
knit
knit
this
this
stitch.
one first. Okay, knit this one first. Okay, now,
Can
Now-
I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
You're not actually continental knitting
no,
because
because
you're
now I'm
wrapping.
What's continental knitting? That's how I always did.
No. You're not supposed to wrap in continental because you're doing this
Yeah.
in the knit stitch. Watch. So I put it through and I just pick it. Pick it. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Okay.
Okay, so now I
See,
have
now
to,
this
I
is
have
easier.
to unlearn myself from the way
Because
that
now it makes this a lot easier because you're not wrapping anything.
yes,
It's just
okay.
you're just picking it.
Got it.
People don't wrap on the continental side unless they're doing the front purl
Right.
where there's a bit of a wrap
Right.
to it.
But you know what? What I did was we were taught, hold it in your left hand, this yarn, hold that in your left hand, but we were
I
taught,
don't think you were taught that because if you were taught to wrap,
well, that's the only
you
way
were-
I ever did it.
you were taught you should have been holding it in this hand because that's the English method of knitting
Yeah.
where people wrap like that.
Oh, and you see, you go like that, and, all right, so I've been doing it totally opposite.
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake.
So just when you stick it through here to knit, just pick the yarn up. It will be much faster also.
Right.
I couldn't figure out why it was taking you so long. Because you
Yeah.
seemed really fast in the beginning, and I
Yeah.
believe you were doing this in the beginning. But you got wonky.
But to do this without having to look at it all the time, I thought I've got to
See
teach
this
myself
finger?
how to hold this and this.
See this finger?
All right.
I
Just-
can feel that I'm picking the yarn up against it.
Yeah.
So I'm picking the yarn up against it. I can feel with my thumb and this
Yeah.
finger that I'm now on to the next stitch.
This is really important for people who have real low vision.
Now I pick it. That's why the tips of my fingers get a little
Sore.
sore or funky
Yeah.
when I use sharp needles.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll figure it out. You'll do it. Everybody does it different. As long as you do it consistently, you're fine. You're fine. And there are going to be things that are difficult for all of us along the way. There's always one more thing. When I think about where I was a year ago, I had not yet created a usable pair of socks.
A year from now, I'm going to feel much more confident.
Yes.
And because I'm now trying to unlearn what I learned years ago.
Move to right here.
Oh. Wait. Okay.
Because I think you're just remembering it funky. Because
Yeah.
there is no way, there is no style. And I have,
There wasn't a style. That's just how we learned to do it. And the only ones who knew how to do anything, we didn't go take a class. It was just the ones in our little neighborhood.
Mhm.
So we all learned it wrong.
um,
So now I'm going through the two to the back. I'm going to start learning how to hold it on this side again. Okay.
hold your yarn on the left side because that's what you
Left
said
side.
you wanted to do.
That's what I did before. Now I've retrained myself to
But
do
you
it on
shouldn't
my
have
left.
to let go
All right.
and wrap.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Remember, the left needle's in front.
no needles in
Because
front.
this needle is always the one that's picking up the yarn. So I haven't had to move my yarn.
Yeah.
And now you just catch it with the hook.
Okay.
With the needle, like
Okay.
a hook.
Could use a crochet hook.
You could. There is crochet ways to finish.
See, part of it is this yarn.
Yeah, that yarn is a challenge.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know why you stuck with this. I wouldn't have. That's what I told you to begin with.
I know. But
she
it
never
was
listens to me.
but it was good for me to have something I could feel.
Mom, you
thicker.
can feel the other yarns too.
Well, when you get diabetes, guess what? You have neuropathy after years, and I have it in my hands as well
Uh-huh.
as my feet.
Yes, this is for
Yummy.
color work. You are never ever going to do this. You're never going to do this. Why did you buy this?
Well, I can return them. I just
Oh my
wanted to
God.
show you because I thought,
I know about these things.
Well,
Everybody
I-
else does too. She bought a thing for color work. Don't buy stuff unless you know why you're buying it.
well, I might use it. I thought.
Jesus.
I'm
You're just
think-
like my children. Don't say things unless you actually know what they mean. Don't buy stuff unless you actually know it's something you're going to use. So my goal this year, on top of finishing my other 2 sweaters, because I made a goal of 4 sweaters in 2019, and I finished 2. I finished the one that I gave my mom, which was the Lion Brand Raglan, and then I
Purple.
finished this with the Lion Brand Chunky Wool Ease. It was just 2 squares seamed together, but I actually did it in the round. No, I've never really worn it. I don't love it, but my kids do. So I want to
Your
finish.
kids love it or wear it?
They've each worn it because it's cozy and it's oversized. But it's 106 degrees. I have every single curtain drawn in my house. I put tin foil in both of my skylights in my dining room and my kitchen
Yeah, we do that here in the summer.
because it's so hot.
I don't, and I would if I was concerned about keeping the heat bill down. I have everything open. I have every
But your
light.
main windows are,
Yeah.
she's got overhangs
Yeah.
on both the
That you
front
don't
and the
have.
back that are at least, like one's her front carport, so that's what, 12 to 15 feet?
Yeah.
And the one in the back is at least 4 feet.
Oh, Oh, the back one is 8 feet.
8 feet. So she doesn't get the kind of sunlight I get in the front of our house because we only have the small eaves. It's maybe 2 feet.
I get light.
You get light. You don't get the heat that I do. That's why I love your house. And so my goals this year is to figure out this mosaic knitting, which is like a baby step towards color work because you use 2 different colors, but you're only using slip stitches. So there's no yarn management, there's no floats to deal with. And then to figure out how to do helical knitting because you can use that to alternate skeins when you're making a sweater. If you've got a hand-dyed yarn, and so there's going to be inconsistencies in the color, you want to alternate every other row.
I'm going to give her some treats.
Okay, you give her some treats. And so those are our big, wonderful tidbits. This week is the bind-off, the stretchy bind-off, which people use a lot for a lot of different things. And there is a Very Pink Knits tutorial on our knit playlist on our YouTube channel. And she does a much better job. I mean, we're not set up to do it. But verbally I can talk you through it. And I'm trying to give my mom the sense that, because in the quilting, she did elaborate, crazy things, and I understand her eyesight was better, but she still can do this, and I understand because a year ago I was still about 8 to 9 months into my knitting, and I had done 1 shawl. I had done maybe 3 baby blankets like hers. I'd done a couple of slippers that just didn't fit and weren't quite right in trying to figure out how to do this sock thing because I really wanted to get there. I had one of those plastic round knitting machines, so I made a few scarves with that because I loved the cranking. And it was getting me used to different yarns because when I crocheted for years and years and years, all I ever used was the inexpensive 100% acrylic Red Heart, and the thing that I liked to do was color combinations with granny squares and other basic patterns because that was fun for me. I don't know if you can see, but there is this row.
Oh, is that for me?
No.
You know, those are the 2 colors together that I absolutely love.
So what I did is I just went into my stash. I had a small little blip of this, a teeny tiny blip of this. I'm so glad it lasted. A slightly larger blip of this. All 3 of these are fingering weight, so I held them double because that equates to about a worsted weight. Then I had 2 skeins of this alpaca, Barocco alpaca, and I've found that as much as I like the look of alpaca, me personally, I don't like it next to my skin.
Is it part wool?
No, alpaca is alpaca, from an alpaca animal, not a lamb.
It's from a llama.
It's not from a llama, it's from an alpaca.
Well,
That's why they call it alpaca.
I know. We talked about this last week. I still haven't looked up what an alpaca is. Don't roll your eyes at me.
I'm not rolling my eyes. I'm just patiently taking a moment. Taking a moment.
Yes.
So this is the Easy Breezy, that crochet pattern for the Easy Breezy shawl. Oh my God, I love it. And that is in our crochet playlist on the YouTube channel. So go check that out if you're one of the crocheters. We love you. And we love our knitters. And I was going to show this because I can only use this arm so much during the day, and then I just have to stop.
Wait a minute, is this real?
Yes, it's real. This is a mercerized cotton. It's it's DK.
This is absolutely
Ella
adorable
Ray Phoenix
colors.
DK Prints, pure mercerized cotton, which means it's a stronger cotton. That's what people would use for socks.
You don't make our socks out of cotton, do you?
No. It's 100 grams and 251 yards. So that sounds like it would be DK. It just doesn't feel very DK. It's more sport to me. So I tried to make a little rectangle and then just make a little water bottle purse, because carrying your water bottles, they sweat so bad this time of year when it's 112 in the shade. And then I really like doing the I-cords, except my crochet I-cords, the rows are longer, but I'm much faster. And someone asked me what a crocheted I-cord was. So you've got the 3 loops on your hook. You drop the first 2, and I have doubled this up. You do a slip stitch through the one all the way on. For me, I'm right-handed, so it's all the way on my right. Then I do a slip stitch through the middle one. Then I do a slip stitch through the left, and that's the next row. And then I drop these 2 stitches on my left and go all the way to this one and slip stitch. Then pick this one up and slip stitch. Then pick this one up and slip stitch. Yeah, it's a bit tedious, but for me it's faster than the knitting one. The knitting one was really slow going. I'm trying to make some pouches with some of the odds and ends, the 1-ball skeins that I have that I really wouldn't use for something else. Because in the beginning, it's not just my mom. We all go out and buy like 1 skein of this or that or the other thing. And
Trying to do this.
did you do it?
Look at how far I am.
Oh wow, see, you got it.
I got it.
She got it. You got it, you're fine.
You know, this is how I did it in the old years. We did those socks, not socks, gloves. Not gloves either, mittens with no, like that. And that's what I did. But when it was our little group, this is the olden days, ladies. Okay, in the olden days, you lived and you had like a neighbor here and a neighbor over here, and on your block you had like 3 or 4 of you who were all home, we're raising our kids. And then what we did was we'd get our work done in the morning, and we'd meet at 9:30 and have an hour in the morning where our kids that were at home would play or whatever they did. We would have a cup of coffee, we would talk, we would share a recipe and say, oh my God, this stretched our food budget, because we were all poor. But we learned, and we all learned how to knit at the same time. Well, we all learned the wrong way. So in the olden days, what I learned was to hold the yarn in my left hand, but I learned to go like this and then wrap around and then pull it up, and that was the wrong way.
That was totally.
So I thought,
it's not, if you do it consistently and it works, then it works.
yes.
But if you want to do it so your wrapping method also was using a lot more yarn.
And time.
And you were getting a thicker product.
And
I couldn't figure that out before. Why it
was so thick.
Yeah.
And so I was trying, I thought,
so you either have to switch to having the yarn in that hand and what they call throwing the yarn around the needle, or you put your yarn back in the left hand and you pick the yarn.
This is so much simpler.
Yeah.
You're right.
I'm right! She said it! So why do our cats keep peeing outside their litter boxes. Not all the time, just once.
Twice now in 6 months. But not on carpet, only in the hallway. And you know what it is? Because she gets mad because now she the other night we remembered shut the bedroom door.
Yeah.
Or bathroom door. Meow, meow. We hear this, and we thought,
Your
no,
cat is so cranky.
she is. I want to eat. I want treats. I want whatever, and she'll meow, that creepy sound. She got so mad, she just peed. So that when we came out of the bathroom or bedroom to go into the bathroom, we stepped in cat pee.
So
Well,
I have a really big...
That was a big, we know, to us. And I thought, too bad you are not getting running water. I'm telling you, I'm sick of paying $6.50 more a month to run water for this cat.
But Mom, it's an 18-year-old cat, and she came pre-trained.
15.
15.
Oh, listen to her.
So, yeah. I don't know why our cat does it, although...
But she hasn't done it a lot.
No, she's only done it twice. I
don't know.
I don't know. But the weird thing about our cat is she doesn't have a problem with Chip, the little poodle. So they were both laying on the bed with me and Connor last night when I was talking to him about his day and putting him to bed.
Because they're the same size.
They're the same size. She lays by him, and you know what she did last night? She went like this, boop, and bopped him in the butt, and he just turned and looked at her, and she was like, "What are you gonna do?" And he was like, "I don't care." And it was pretty funny, because that's the first time she's bopped him. I do think they're gonna be fast friends, but I think she knows that our biggest dog has no sense, and he's come into Connor's room a couple times when Connor thought it was the poodle, because they're both black. And I'm like, you need to pay better attention. The poodle weighs 35 pounds. The boxer weighs 90. And
the only reason her poodle weighs such a limited amount of weight is that's her body.
we have gone to vets. We have tried high-calorie diets. It's not that she's unhealthy. She's very healthy for her age.
You could feed her malts all day long. She would still be thin. Because she would take a couple little lady-like sips, and I'm done.
Mm-hmm. And so she's fine.
Lady.
She's a little lady, and she's a small standard. She's very short. She's small. So she just hasn't. We've done that whole thing where you transfer scents and whatever, and now we leave Connor's door open to the point that it's not completely open, so that the big dog just races in. Or if it is completely open, there's a gate in the hallway so the cat can jump over the gate, which she has done. And she's gone up into my daughter's room, or she's gone into the bathroom. But she's never going to venture out into our house, I do not think.
No, and she likes Connor. But some people teach their cats how to go to the bathroom in the toilet.
Oh my God, I don't know who has that patience.
Sorry.
Those people are ridiculous.
I have potty trained a couple of children, then a couple more grandchildren I helped with, then a couple more grandchildren. Sorry, I'm not potty training a cat.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do you have to talk about? Will you tell us something? Tell us what de-stash means. You've used that term before. When somebody de-stashed. What does that mean?
De-stashing is when somebody realizes, because you'll see pictures of people online, I'm not naming names, certain grandmas, grannies, whatever, that look like they have a store behind them. You know, the people who have so much yarn behind them that it looks like a store.
And her daughter says, "Mom, what are you doing? You can't buy any more yarn." Okay, now I get what you mean about de-stashing. You're talking about A stash.
A
of
stash
yarn.
of yarn.
Okay.
So to de-stash is to then go on one of the platforms to sell, because you realize you've run out of space. You can't buy more yarn until you sell some of your old yarn.
So then, this morning, she was in the hallway by the guest bathroom, and I opened, there's 2 closet doors across from
Oh, I
each
didn't
other.
even see what you were talking about. I had no idea what you were talking about.
Okay, I've lived here 2.5 years, you guys. 2.5 years. And that is still 2/3 full of fabric. That is the stash that I need to get rid of because
Yeah.
I'm never going to use it. So you know what? That, I'm telling y'all right now, hold me accountable. You know where it's going? It's going up to my friend Jean's because she works with a little group of women who are learning to quilt. And I took her purse out of the room. I picked up all of her junk that was in it. And she's standing looking this on the bed. She's looking down at the purse. I took it out of the room. I gave her treats. She wants
The kids.
kids come back and play
My
with
God.
me.
Yeah, so de-stash means selling
Or
stuff that
getting
you
rid of.
haven't used or getting rid of.
Good.
Or donating. So I also tried that Tink Knits thing. Many people will have seen it on. Yeah, Tink is knit spelled backwards. It means to unknit. Tink Knits is an online store where you can set up an account, you can make your pictures, people can buy your de-stash. It's one of the ways people de-stash. But you can also send them your stuff and they'll do all the work and you'll get a smaller percentage of the profit. But remember, it's de-stashing, so chances are you're selling it for less than you bought it anyway. So I decided to try it because it sounded fabulous. And she said, you know, as long as the bag doesn't have more than 10 pounds of yarn. Oh my God. So I'm thinking bag, people, bag. I swear to God, I bought 2 of them and I had to pay to buy the bags and have them shipped to me. So it was like $10. They were maybe 8.5 by 11 each. I couldn't fit hardly anything in them, and I seriously couldn't fit my books because they would like cause holes or stuff, or some of the needles or whatever. So I put in yarn, and I understand that she was just on this summer. She was just on Christy Glass Knits. So I'm sure she got inundated.
Yeah.
But you would think there would have been an email, hey, we received your package, we're inundated, you can expect to see this on our website or hear back from us within X amount of time. Nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
she probably is still busy.
So, and I couldn't send what I wanted. I couldn't even send half of what I wanted in those 2 bags, and I wasn't about to spend $100 on buying the bags to send all this stuff out when realistically I didn't think I was going to make that amount. So
can you just donate it here?
you can donate your stuff to any thrift store you want. They all have crafting
not to
stuff.
You guess what? You know, right down here on Speedway, there's fire station, and one morning a week, they have a group of old ladies who come in and
Yes,
they
and I
make-
donate to my church's group of old ladies that I used to be a part of to make the blankets. I don't go to the meetings anymore. I just bring the blankets or whatever and donate. Sometimes I donate yarn.
and they
But
make
Mom, when
or
you're
something.
talking about a skein of yarn that you spent $26 for, you want it to go to a good home, but you spent $26 on one skein, and there's not a lot of one skein projects out there.
Right. So I
'Cause
cannot tell you
That's an
how,
average.
Okay, because my husband's not here, I can tell you the truth. All right. I cannot tell you how much dollar value is in that closet
Mhm.
of fabric. A yard of fabric, if you go to Walmart, which we did sometimes,
Mhm.
but Walmart's fabric sometimes wasn't what we wanted. If we were making a really intricate, really good quilt for something, like we were doing our raffles, we bought good supplies.
Mhm.
And we would put in maybe $300 just in the supplies, not
No,
our time.
people know this. People
Yeah.
know this. So
I
I
know.
want to make a sweater, and thank God, like I lost all that boob size because now I can make a smaller size.
Oh, there's
So now I can make an $80 sweater instead of a $120 sweater
well, that's
because that's
still
saving a
money sa-
lot of money off the sweaters you buy at Walmart. But the thing is, when you buy that $30 sweater at Walmart, it lasts for a season. And I want to spend more money, get the sweaters that I want,
I want to buy.
and that they will last.
I want to buy a sweater in Minnesota that is. We remember our Icelandic sweaters, our Norwegian sweaters. Oh, I see why you did tell me.
Yeah, you didn't save enough. You didn't know.
Luckily I have a little bit more of this. You know what I did? I bought 3 of these total.
And you're going to need big chunks to fix your problems and weave in the
Yeah.
ends because you also need a chunk to weave in the ends.
Love,
I don't know
luckily
how
I
you
have-
measured 4 times this because to lay it out full length,
Don't take it off my needle.
I know, but it's not going to, Mom. Let go.
It
Let
is,
go.
no.
Let go. Watch this.
Okay.
Do you see how it's not going to come off your needles anymore? You're binding off. So to lay this out, here's the thing that many people
I
don't
know
learn.
what I was doing.
You lay it out.
Yeah.
What you had left over was not 4 times this length.
But I have a thing left over. I'm
Right.
saying a
So
chunk.
when you need to estimate how much yarn you need left to bind something off, the
cord,
the yarn that
Right.
you need left, so you hold your thing up, the actual size that it is, and you go back and forth 4 times. You need 4 times whatever you're trying to bind off. That's the average. And depending on the bind off, it might be different. But you're going to be safe that way.
Yeah.
So now you just put them back like this. So you can see how that works.
Yeah. Thanks.
So
Yeah, I really
And-
screwed up
and you
on
need
that, but
to-
luckily I've got more. But I
Yes.
did have. I
So
bought
you
one,
can-
then I went back and I bought 2 more.
you can
And
do
so I
this
bought
much
2
more, and then you can,
I had one totally left over that had the stuff on. I had my receipt, and guess what?
you took it back. Yes. Good girl. So yeah, so that's a little trick and tidbit. I have found that the tips and tricks in knitting, like it's hard to glean those unless you're going to some of these classes, which we don't have a lot of them locally, and we don't have a lot of retreats locally or within
Driving.
close driving distance, and not like either one of us can drive. You don't learn a lot of the tips and tricks.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing I'm trying to share with people is tips and tricks. Because you hear them all the time in online tutorials for crochet stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I learned crochet back when I relearned it as a grown-up. I feel like I learned it and I got into a place where I was really proficient and knew tips and tricks and whatever, and was far less stressed, so much faster. Because I can tell that my mom is stressed. And I remember feeling that way still a year ago.
Yeah, trying to learn something new.
And there's a certain level of stress that comes when maybe you can't feel your hands very well anymore, or maybe you can't see it
my
very well anymore. It's hard to communicate that to other people. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. We talk about it all the time because people aren't talking about it. And nobody's getting any younger. You're going to deal with something as you
Everybody
age.
does in their life. Everybody does. And you know, I got my stuff, she's got her stuff. You know, you got your stuff out there, every one of you. And we just, as women, we have to learn how to cope with it. And it helps.
But that doesn't always mean just stuffing it. And,
Right.
and because
It
we do
helps.
that a lot. Like today, oh my God, you'd been so proud of me. I actually blended in my little Magic Bullet blender.
Yeah.
I actually blended, and I picked things that were like apple without the rind and cucumber without the rind, and a little cup of pre-cut peaches. I picked things that were really soft. I knew I could blend them up really fast because I tend to really limit what I do when my husband's sleeping, which
he does a lot.
He does a lot.
Because of his illnesses, yeah.
and he has a hard time with insomnia, and so whatever. We have different schedules. Our kids like to be in bed early and up early, so I'm the one on the kids' schedule. He sleeps in. So I would always wait, but that wouldn't always work for me because I'm trying to work myself back into some strength after all these surgeries. And so I actually put this together and I blended it for probably a minute. Well, he was still sleeping, and I tried to put it in the cupboard to like muffle the sound. Because I thought, you know, the other day, the dog woke him up, he got angry. He got up, and I was able to stay in bed because I was just like, the kids aren't awake, I'm staying in bed. But you know, it's that difference. As women, we will just stay on top of the children, keep them away from the bedroom, shut the door so the dogs don't get in, you know, do all the things. And I thought, you know, sometimes we take that too far. If I need to have that thing, I'm going to figure out a way to make it happen. And it didn't wake him up. It was more than an hour until he woke up, and then it was the dog barking.
But you found a way to cope with that
And
problem.
I found a way
make
to
it work for
realize that as long as it wasn't something that I was, some days I blend like a vegetable drink, and so I blend it for quite a bit longer. And I realized if I just made different choices, I could do this thing that I needed to do for me. Most days I don't blow dry my hair because he's asleep when I take a shower. And that saddens me because it sometimes saddens the way that I perceive myself throughout that day. But then like yesterday, after he did get up and our day was going, I just wet some of my hair down again and tried to restyle it. It's not like I do much, people. It's not like I do much.
You have beautiful hair.
But whatever little efforts we make, it's okay to make them for us.
And for those of you who don't know, she not only, I don't know why you did this, she not only had a baby, were you 43?
3.
She was 43 and had a baby.
The
I was a
doctors told me
grandmother.
that the chances of me having a baby at that point were slim to none. We were getting married,
Did you name her Slim to None?
and we talked about what we were going to do for birth control, and he was like, I don't want you to go get your tubes tied. That's an extensive surgery. I'll look into vasectomy. But of course, he was looking
Not
into
soon
that
enough.
after we got married, not soon enough.
After.
And we did other protections. But I wasn't at the stage that they thought I was. I was having problems because of tumors that they weren't catching.
So her son calls us and says, Grandma, tell Grandpa to get on the phone. I have a secret to tell you. I have something to tell you. And we said, what? Your tooth came out finally? And he says, no, my mom's got a baby in her stomach. And I was thinking, oh my God, they're in their 40s and they're starting all over. His son was,
Is 20 years older than she is.
And
He is
was-
24, the youngest is 4, and then we've got an 11-year-old in the
and
middle.
I thought, oh, and luckily I said nothing at that time, but I thought, you have a child college age and one in school that you're putting through a private school, and now you're having a baby. Oh, good luck. And she gets on the phone, she says, what do you have to say, Mom? and I'm going like this to Ed. Come on. And I think Ed said, oh, maybe it'll be a girl. And we'll finally get a girl in the family. And I thought, oh my God, I wanted to just cry for
Oh, I know.
her.
She was a wreck the whole time I was pregnant. Her and Jared were a wreck. And it didn't do anything for our marriage because he was so scared. His son had problems when he was born.
Yeah.
And so he was a wreck. I mean, he really didn't even want to be around me as I got more and more pregnant because he was so worried that something was going to go wrong.
What I was worried about was that when she was pregnant with Connor, you were about 36 or something. When she was pregnant, she was legally blind in one eye by the time she was 8. During that pregnancy, you lost much of your other eye. And I thought, honey, you got like
Now I can't let Connor watch this show.
Oh, yeah. And so, little tiny bit of sight, you know, but she has, you know.
It actually, I think I was just more prepared for it.
Yeah. But and I was thinking, don't let her lose the rest of her sight. Luckily, she didn't. But what you guys don't know is that she has had 6 surgeries in 4 years. And that's taken a toll on you.
Because
and your
one of
body.
those tumors fell out when I was pregnant. Yeah, I know. That's a girl thing. If you're not a girl, I'm really sorry I didn't warn you. And so I ended up having to have a complete hysterectomy later on because the tumors came back so quickly after I had the baby. And then they did some stuff, and then they did another thing. And then, you know, I just had all these surgeries. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It seemed like every time we turned around, you were having another surgery.
There will be no more surgeries. I don't care
But she
if I
has
need a
coped.
hip or a knee. I don't care. It's
I'll
not
tape it up.
happening.
I'll tape it up.
Get some duct tape. I am
Duct tape.
not having another surgery.
They even have duct tape in colors and little patterns. No. Yet you've been through enough.
Yeah.
And so now she's coming into her own again, becoming you again. I think it helps that Prue is 4 now and is past that toddler stage and stuff. So
Oh my God.
everything's helping.
I was so jealous of my friend because all of her kids were in school. And then she got pregnant and she was 40. Her baby is now what, 9 months old? 7 months old? 7. And I was like, told ya. And they knew what they were doing. Yeah, it happens. And to be honest,
You don't
Jared
regret.
talks about it. You don't regret it at all. It's exhausting. You feel bad when you have to tell them, look, no, it's 8 o'clock at night. I cannot run a marathon with you.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there are a lot of benefits that they have in having older parents that I don't think you get when the kids are young or when you're younger, when you are still almost a kid. Because Jared talks about that. He talks about how different his parenting is, his mentality is.
What you have is what we call gramming. That at 19, I had my first child. Had lots of energy. I could clean my whole house in one day. I could, take care of the child. I could make supper. Oh my God. Now I get up in the morning and think, oh, I have cleaned both of those bathrooms today.
Your house is immaculate all the time. Mine is god-awful.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to vacuum since the end of April.
I'm very organized. You mentioned that once, and I thank you for saying that. I am very organized, but part of the very organized is that I've always been like that because I lived with my mom who was a hoarder and said, oh, I'm not going to go there. And so I have a thing about I have too much. I have too much. Except for
Except for stuff on the wall.
Oh, yeah. I have a lot of stuff
My
on the
God,
wall.
she has to cover like every inch of the wall space. But anyway, we are a knitting podcast. Do you have any more knitting?
Yes. Guess what? So I have tried enough kind of needles now that I found out this is the needle that I like best. I like the plastic. I like the circular thing. I do not like, I started as something, Yeah, where's the other one of these?
It was in your thing. Remember you gave it to me when I had to fix that?
Oh, I have to find it.
It's
That's
somewhere.
where I had to
Yeah.
look at. And I wanted to know, what are these?
Okay, this is
Oh,
a small double-pointed needle. So if you have a set of these, you can use them as small double-pointed needles, or it's a stitch holder. So if you need to hold stitches, because
you're going on to something
you're
else.
going on to something else, or you've stitched 6 stitches in, and then you've decided you want to hold those 6 stitches. You're going to do the middle of your blanket. You're going to leave the other 6 stitches at the end, and you're going to keep working up in like purple, and then you're going to pick these up on the edges and finish like a border.
Yeah.
This is how you hold your stitches.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know. And these
Is
are
this
things.
is your bucket of what is it?
Yeah. Because I think other people who are new to this might know what are these?
These are cable needles. So when you do cables,
Cable stitch.
yes, when you make cables in knitting, you have to drop a few stitches off your needle and hold it, knit a few more, then you put these back on, because you're having to think about the cable, you're having to pull the stitches. So you slip a few stitches off, you hang it here, you keep knitting a couple stitches, then you put these back on, you knit those. They're cable needles.
Good
And they're
Lord.
different styles.
Yeah. Okay. Guess what I figured out last night?
Yep.
So I'm putting this stuff together thinking I'm going to ask you stuff. Look at this, guys. Everybody knows what these are. These go on the top of your little needles, you know, so that your stuff doesn't fall off. See how these two are different size?
Yeah, for the needles that are different size.
That's what I figured out. I thought, geez, isn't this odd that some of these holes are too small?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that's what and I wanted to know, do you have that other one?
No,
of these?
you have it. I saw it the
Wow.
other day when I was here last week. You had both of them, but
Okay.
it was in
So
two
I
different
learned
spots.
that some things I like to, some kinds of needles.
And that's going
and-
to change over time.
But some needles I don't like to use.
Right.
And you know what I don't like to use? Are that wooden.
Look at the camera.
That wooden.
Okay, wooden needles grab your yarn more. So if you were using like a silk yarn that's very slippery, you would want to use a wooden needle, because then the yarn wouldn't slip on the needle so much.
Huh. Okay. Okay, so is this the part where you want to yell at me about one more thing?
Oh my God, what did you do now?
Do you remember when I bought 3 skeins of this yarn?
Oh
and
yes,
used,
the
and she's-
circus yarn.
The circus yarn, and I said, oh, but I love this, and I love it, and so I thought, okay, this is the one that I'm going to use to make my reader, my knitted reader, that Lynette from Crochet Grammy. No, it's Charmed Grammy.
Charmed Grammy.
Charmed Grammy. And I thought, okay, so I got about this far, and she was looking at it saying, oh, you're doing a good job. Yeah. And I got about this far into it, and I held it up by me and thought, oh my God, I'm going to look like the Ronald McDonald clone or something wearing this thing.
Yeah, I don't know why you thought this would be great yarn to wear.
I didn't know either. Okay, so I took it all off.
But why? Because
Can
now
I-
you're making just another rectangle. You already had a rectangle going. Why did you take it all off?
Will you let me finish my story?
No.
So my story is, okay, so then I thought, I took it all apart last night. I thought, I'm not going to wear this. She was right. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to take it all off, and I'm going to make something that I want to make. And so I'm sitting there watching TV. We're watching this show from Canada.
Talk more about the knitting.
And then, so I'm trying to, and thinking, this is hard because I'm trying to watch and I'm trying to do this. Look at how far apart my needles
You
are.
dropped a stitch.
Oh, is that what I did? Yeah. See, I didn't know. So then, anyway, I thought, well, okay, so then I'm just going to do a bunch of this on here because you know what this will be good as? Guys, think quilting. Okay, so I make squares out of this. And
Mom, it'll be so visually confusing to connect the squares.
shoot, she's right again. Okay, so I'll just make a lap robe for somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm putting this on. Now look at this. Look at what's wrong. And I got this far and thought, oh my God, my teacher's coming over and my teacher's going to give me a big F for this. What? Look at this. Is that a drop
just,
stitch?
It could have been a drop stitch, or it just could have been inconsistencies when you were casting it on.
But see how your stuff is level, it's straight?
Yeah,
And-
you're just new enough, and because you won't continue, you just always rip off and do 2 lines and rip off and do 2 lines. You're not getting into the flow where you're learning how to get that consistency. You've got to start getting into the project so you
But
can
see,
build
I
up the
did it
consistency.
with that one. So what I should do with this one is, as
Because this
This gonna
rectangle
be-
is so different than the rectangle you ripped off that you had
Yeah.
4 inches of.
yeah,
Okay.
I knew,
Just keep
I knew-
going with
I
it,
knew
and
she'd
the
know what
edge,
this was.
the
So if I
edge.
dropped a stitch there, how do I get that stitch back on?
Well, you have to cast
Well, where is
on
it?
a stitch.
Oh.
So how would you cast on a stitch? In the middle like this. I don't know how you can use this yarn to cast on a
Oh,
stitch.
I'm just taking this all off and starting over.
Or Mom!
I just did it! Woo!
Or you could have just kept going. That would have only been a blip on the outside edge, and then if you did an edge around, like a finished edge.
Okay, and then here, when you take something apart, if you wrap it, you don't get it so wrinkly when you start to use it again.
Oh yes, that's a great tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We're over an hour. Do you know that? Do
we'll
you have anything
cut out.
else that's
No,
knitting?
I'm done.
Okay.
We gotta call Grandpa and tell him he can bring her back
Go
home
find
again.
your phone and call Grandpa.
Yeah.
So
Bye,
I
guys.
did have some other knitting stuff, but I will save it for later. Let our winners get back to us. CC Lady. And who else? Swanson? No. Sandy Dawson. Not Swanson. Sandy Dawson. And CC Lady. Send us your addresses. We'll get the packages out to you. And I think we'll end up having another drawing for those other 2 prizes that nobody's claimed. So have a wonderful time this week. Do some knitting. Comment, how much knitting do you guys each do a day? Look with your heart first.